And if something's not optimizing like that, like let's just say vitamin D, that's the pattern I see over a couple of months, then I might say, hey, let's get some labs done and let's confirm. And then there's my suspicion, because now it's showing that on lab work. And I know that we're not diagnosing, curing, or treating anything, and I as a functional medicine practitioner can run labs, but I don't hang my hat on that. I like to look at the scans, and I'm like so excited we have the hormone stuff, because now I don't need to run hormone panels on people. And I can now teach my clients how to read their own shit, so they don't need to go either get labs from me or labs from their doctor.
So a lot of ones show up on me like all the time, and like I say, I'm trying to depict whether it is a gluten thing, and I kind of think it is, but whatever is the gluten, is the gluten problem, it always shows up as ones.
So it's just a chronic problem. So gluten's in everything. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Gluten is in everything. There. For those who follow me on Facebook, I just posted like blew people's minds about emotions and food sensitivities.
So even if it's one, you still need to stay away from that.
Yeah. I personally don't eat any gluten. I have put everything back into my diet, including dairy, on occasion, because I work on some beliefs around dairy. And I haven't tried to tackle that with gluten yet, but a couple things would be look at the foods that you're eating, because gluten's in everything. Possibly address some emotions, some miasms, some generational shit that happened like coming down the line, or what belief systems you have around. Now, I was really sick in 2016. I think I was eating like 15 foods. I was like no gluten, dairy, corn, soy, coffee, caffeine, nuts, nightshades, and oxalates. Yeah, what's left?
So what were you?
Salads. Salads.
The grass-fed fowl.
Yeah, salmon. Fruits that I could eat. I mean, it just
Well, even salmon, you got to be careful with.
Right. I was eating wild caught, you know, and like my mentor always said, just do the best that you can do, because that best is still going to be better than not doing it. And now I forget what's going to go with that. I put all the food back in except dairy, because I was scared to death. And I work with a lot of clients with this because they have so much food taken out and restricted, and then when I'm like, oh, you're fine, you can start putting stuff back in. No, I'm afraid. I'm like, you have to go outside that bubble at some point and start living. And I was that person. I was scared to death to put dairy back in. I put everything else in and I was okay. And I got better as I grew. So I worked on some beliefs around dairy. And I'm not going to tell you what that one was, but last Christmas I was able to eat cheesecake, and like nothing happened. So now I know I can go out and have like a gluten-free pizza with cheese, or have cheese on a burger, and I'm not going to die. Like nothing's going to happen to me. I'm fine. It's all up in here.
Well, I was also told that if you give a calf just regular pasteurized cow milk, it would die eventually. But you have to make sure that it's raw.
And that's a whole other thing. You really need to know where your food's coming from. You know, like people could say, oh, I'm eating gluten-free this. I'm like, well, what's the cow eating? What's the chicken eating?
What's the salmon, the farm-raised salmon?
Right.
There's products like that.
You're eating that. Which is why, like, we come from a family of hunters. Like, you need to humanely take down that deer. Because if you don't, you're going to be, like, eating all the adrenaline and stress from that deer dying. You have to do it right with you.
We have raw milk where we are, so milk doesn't seem to bother us.
Because you have all the good, but that was something I had put back first was raw dairy. I tested the waters with that first, and it was okay. But it takes time to build that up so that people can do that. Because raw dairy is great for that. How did you test it? I would just eat a little bit, wait like 2 or 3 days.
You can actually put it on your skin right here, and it will actually show up red too.
So like quinoa was one of those foods I was messing around with, and every time I ate quinoa, I broke out hives in 24 hours. Most of my food sensitivities and reactions usually happen pretty quickly, like within 15 minutes my fingers would swell, I'd get some mucus, I'd get a little flush, my heart would go up, which is that cocoa test, you can eat a little something and see if your heart rate goes up. But gluten was, or quinoa was like, I would wake up in hives the next day and I'm like, what did I eat? Oh, it was quinoa.
What about goat's milk?
I personally have not tried it, but yeah, you can try it. You want the good enzymes and the good probiotics. Yeah.
Move through
system time.
What's that?
Move through the system time. What is considered timing of moving through the system?
So fruits are supposed to be like 4 to 6 hours. Like fruit should go through you pretty quickly, which is why a lot of people eat a lot of fruit because it's easy on the digestive system. Vegetables are going to be about 6 to 8 hours, and meat can be up to 3 days. So like me personally, I still, I've been deficient in stomach acid probably since I've been in my 20s because I've had thyroid issues ever since I was 21, and I'm almost 50. So I notoriously have low stomach acid. Red meat tears me up. I can only eat red meat like once a week, and I have to take like 4 HCl pills to digest the red meat, whereas the other meals I can do like 2 or 3 pills of HCl. Because I don't want it sitting. Have you ever eaten a heavy meal and you're just like, breaking?
Yeah.
Not going anywhere. Think about what that cheesecake's doing in your purse. You want it out. What must go in must go out, which takes you back to the bottom.
Where was the emotion and food list?
Huh?
Where was the emotions and food list?
I don't have an emotion and food list.
What was the one you said you just posted earlier today?
I did a post a couple weeks ago about food allergies and your beliefs.
And beliefs.
Yeah. So I've had a couple people that towards the end of the gut program or as I've been working with them, been able to clear a lot of food sensitivities just by working on some negative belief patterns. But so it was a Facebook post I had done and people were like losing their mind because they're like, no, it's all about the food. I'm like, no, it's nothing about the food. It's all about your beliefs and what you think is going to happen around the food. Like people don't understand how much they keep themselves hostage in their mind. I can't do this. This is going to hurt me. If I eat this, this is going to happen. Like, think about every day how you limit and restrict yourself.
Can't should not be in our vocabulary.
Nope, never. As soon as I hear that, I have people refrain. Like, you can't say can't because you haven't even tried.
Well, you said earlier about teaching, you mentioned earlier about teaching the people,
Yeah.
training. Do you have trainings that are available that others outside of your?
Yes, I have. So my business is Kimberly Quantum Collective. Jen works with me. Jen does more DNA and emotional work, belief work. I do all of that and then all the functional medicine stuff. I have 4 different courses just for the AO scan. There's an AO scan basic course. There is the AO scan mentor course. There is the learning how to interpret your scan reports course, and there is a functional lab course that I made. So if you want to learn how to interpret your own blood work, which translates into the CBC portion of the AO scan, there is that.
And where's the place you said you're?
KimberlyQuantumCollective.com is where you can book any appointments. I do mentorship. I work with a lot of practitioners, trying to bring them up to where they need to be able to use all of this and interpret it however they need to do it for their skill set. And then that's where my whole entire online school is. But there's other courses there. I teach DNA along with my mentor, Joseph Swartz. DNA is a sophisticated form of neurological response testing, where I teach people how to have a conversation with the nervous system. You can figure out if your clients have something structural, physiological, or limbic. It is a template which you can use to actually read your scans. It is a template that you can use across the board for anything. So, that is DNA, dynamic neuromuscular assessment. The online theory portion is on the website. You must take that in order to sit for the live course that Joseph and I teach. So there's 2 parts to it. We have the theory, and then we have the in-person version. My 6-month signature gut program that I've been doing for years, that is now in a group format, I now put all of that into an online course because I can't even keep up with that anymore. So everything that is in the 6-month gut program is now in a easy to follow, self-paced online course, affordable for everybody.
Do you have a master class to take all of these classes and just pay you once?
I basically just dumped my brain into the online courses.
But there's not one big master that covers all of them. You would be going through.
Now what I've been doing with the mentor course, which this is still evolving, this is kind of like Alice's homeopathic PDF ebook. really can't say anything, but that course might be coming over to Solex University. We're trying to figure out how I can navigate that. But the mentorship course is kind of where I have people start, because what I've been going back in and doing is, I understand people need a template. They need a structure. And I get it. But Solex also doesn't want, how do I say this, a rule book.
Right.
Because we're not curing, diagnosing, and treating. But people need a framework. So what I've been doing is going back into each unit, like Candida, Epstein-Barr, Lyme, insulin resistance, menopause, hemochromatosis, whatever it may be, and kind of giving like an outline. These are the foods to eat. These are the foods to cut out. These are the CEPI playlists that I've used for these conditions. These are the markers that you potentially can start looking at on the scans with your clients or yourself. These are the acupuncture meridian points to put your CEPI dots, and these are suggested homeopathics. So if you don't know what to do or where to go, pull up a tab. Maybe it's hemochromatosis. My husband has hemochromatosis, and I now have 3 clients that have it. I don't know why all of a sudden people have too much iron. Iron is really good. So I made a unit, because I'm like, well, this is what my treatment was. Because everyone's like, well, how do you work with them? I'm like, well, you need to look for this, that, and the other. What CEPIs are you using? Well, they're right here. So it's like me giving you, I guess, my protocols. And easy to read, follow. All you gotta do is print out the PDF if you want, or just, keep going back to the
Have you noticed that the new things come in groups of 3, like the hemochromatosis? Like you'll see multiple, and I always receive that as, this is that learning environment in order to get me over. Like it's forcing me, compelling me. Let me reframe that. It's compelling me to learn a lot more than I would have before, and it prepares me for the next season.
Right.
Yeah.
So like the hemochromatosis thing sparked genetics. You have the HFE gene, they have the APOE4 gene. Guess what hemochromatosis can lead to? Alzheimer's. So now my husband has an Alzheimer's client. She doesn't have Alzheimer's. I'm actually going to have her get genetic testing because I think she's got what I just mentioned, because those things are not optimizing with her easy scans. But there's also Lyme showing, and there's also a lot of oxalates. So I did some research. Do you know what they find in the brains of Alzheimer's? Oxalates.
So it all comes
So
back to the gut.
I'm learning. I'm still learning. I have to do research. And this is what people don't understand when they're like, why are you charging so much? I'm like, well, it might take you 3 hours just to get ready for your 1-hour appointment. Like Jen said yesterday, the course is $10,000 because I know what screwed them.
Yes.
I've spent, what, $50,000 since 2020 to get started? To help everybody?
And a new car.
And a new house, and a new state.
She's not a new husband yet.
Look out, Dave.
The other day he's like, the only thing ever replaced is me.
Yeah.
True.
Better watch back.
Tell him he's irreplaceable.
He's irreplaceable. You
can't
have no
doubt
idea
that.
how much of a load he's taken off of me for the last couple of months.
Yeah.
'Cause I just can't-
Ditto.
I'm a real good housewife, by the way.
And the comment about asset,
Yeah.
assistant.
Assistant.
That was like priceless.
Nice. Oh yeah, there we go. This will be the new reality show, Housewives of Solex.
I love it.
Do you know something that would be a great
Support group.
the men, the housewives?
Yeah. Yeah.
We just talking about that. People, like, I'm side note, but we've been hanging out a lot and we've been traveling, so it's like a comedy show because people are like, it's like, well, where's Waldo? Where are you guys at now? What's going on now? And I said, Tammy, we should literally be videotaping everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
because People actually are interested.
But aren't you having the time of your life?
I
are.
That's what it's all about.
I mean, I have no worries. I would not be here if COVID never happened, and it made me completely look at how I run my life and my business. Like, as bad as COVID was, it was a blessing to me, and now I see that because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of that, which made me take a step back and realize I'm not in control of my life. All of this is being orchestrated by however you want to look at it, spirit guides, God, higher source, super conscious. All of this that has happened to us since 2020 has not been anything that I've planned.
God as a clinic.
Yes. And all I'm doing is following that path, and I'm kind of in limbo right now because I feel like that path is starting to shift and change. And rather than me being scared and freaking out, which would have been the old Becky, I'm like, okay, bring it on. Where are we going now? What are we doing? It's exciting. Whereas the old me would have been like,
Once you've grown into the true you,
Right.
20, 30 years ago, you weren't ready to accept that.
no, because I was brought up in a private Baptist Bible
You
church.
shouldn't.
I was told what to wear, what to say,
Yeah.
who to be with, what music to listen to. And then I wonder why I had thyroid issues because I was suppressed from things.
How about a Baptist mother and Italian father? Talk about
But see, it took me getting Lyme disease, and it took all these life experiences for me to take a step back and start to see the patterns. Because the last Lyme flare I had in 2019, I remember saying to my friend, God damn it, here I am again in the same effing situation. And you know what she said to me? You need to figure it out, or you're going to keep repeating that pattern over and
you
over
let
again.
it back in.
Yep. So when you think about chronic illness, what is your pattern? What do you keep repeating? Because the same movie's going to keep going over and over. The characters may change until you learn whatever lesson it is. Now my friend Dave Roberts, he does a lot of emotional work too. Him and I think a lot alike, and he's just like, yeah, that pattern could happen forever and ever and ever. It may not even be in this lifetime.
I had an mentor say to me recently, he's like, how many times you want to go around that mountain?
Right.
Yeah.
But see, most people aren't even aware of that. They're not aware of those patterns. They're not aware that the same scenario keeps happening over and over again. And it's going to continue until you realize what that lesson is that you're supposed to learn.
And a lot of people own their disease, which is the worst
That's a
thing.
whole other thing. So like in my gut program, when we start doing beliefs and that kind of stuff, the first thing is, you can't keep saying my Lyme or my thyroid or my whatever. If you don't own it, it's not yours.
Just invaded you for a time being.
Right. And the one day I woke up, this is how bad it got. The one day I woke up in 2019 and I was so tired of being sick and tired because nobody was fixing me. The fix wasn't them fixing me, the fix wasn't here. And I literally said, I'm tired and I'm done. I'm done with Lyme. And the day that I stated that, everything changed. So, Narai, you were talking about how your thoughts are powerful and your beliefs and your body listens to everything you say.
Because I feel, in my opinion, the universe's job is to make you right. But no matter what you put out there, it's going to make you right. So the example I use is buying a good car and you need a car, someone gives you a car. You've never seen that car before. It's a free car, you need it, you get it, and then what do you see as soon as you hit the road? You see that car everywhere. Yeah. Your neighbors have one. They've had this car for 5 years. You've never seen it before. Because the universe is going to make you right. It's going to affirm that what you do is right. And just because it affirms it doesn't necessarily mean you're right. It doesn't mean the thoughts you're thinking are correct. It doesn't mean the things that you're playing out are yours. It could be things from your childhood, things you saw on TV, you walked by somebody and you said something and you just happened to hear it. And it caught you. It may not be your own stuff that you're owning. So I am called the speaking program. I'm all over that. And it really helps me because it's just like, nope, don't want to hear that. Nope. And I'll tell you, come be sorry. I'm like, there's nothing to be sorry about. Because you really have power. And I don't think people have a clue how much power you give away until you have something show itself in a real big way. So I use like the F word, means fear. I say it's like a little head of a pin. And when you look at it, it doesn't look like it's nuts. When you put all that together, it just seems like it's nuts. Reinforces more, it's fear. Fear of food, fear of flying, fear of alone, fear of and you didn't realize it because it wasn't all together. When you look at it, it's all together. It's maturity. So yeah, your word is super, super cool. You know, and like you're talking about the beliefs that I've done, my experience is I always have a chronic sinus issue. When Americans out there, after country, and my friend time I didn't know what he was doing, but they do what we have now, scanners, putting in my drops. And I was sitting in his office one day and he said, every time you come, it's something new. It's not like you're not doing what I'm telling you to do, but every time you come, it's something new. And I'm not making myself often. And I heard, as clear as I heard, if you do not start doing what you're here to do, I'm going to take you out. And I was like, I knew he didn't say that. She's like, patient to Joel. And it was me. It was my higher self. Power Stuff was saying that you're going on down the wrong track. You're doing all kinds of craziness. If you don't get on the right track, I'm gonna take you out. So I was like, okay, look, I don't know what the right track is, but you give me grace period because at least I'm aware and I'm trying to get on getting there. And then my whole health, just like that, all is gone. So it does happen sometimes that quickly. Spoken word. Think a word. Sorry. Try. Correct. Help everything.
People don't realize how powerful they are. Like, you're the only one that can help heal yourself, not me, not your doctor, only you. But yet, how many people, well, you're a practitioner, how many people come to you and help you fix it?
I won't let them.
Right. What's conventional medicine do?
It didn't do anything for them. That's why they found me. I'm the last resort when they get to me.
You usually are. Because the systems fail. And then I like to swear a lot if you don't know, but then it's like I gotta unfuck everybody's brains because they're in conventional medicine. Well, aren't you just gonna give me a pill? Aren't you just gonna change my diet? Aren't you just gonna give me a supplement? No. We're gonna rewire your mind and your brain. Correct whatever deficiencies are corrected, because there might be a few mineral or amino acids and that stuff. The rest is gonna be your belief systems.
And your
you say to yourself,
responsibility.
and your responsibility. Do you want to get better? Do you deserve to get better? Do you believe you can heal? If you don't believe you can heal and you don't believe you can deserve to heal, guess what? Right. I'm not going to do it for you. This is not how it works. But it's a whole different mind thought process because conventional medicine does not do this. They're a band-aid. It is a sick care system.
But sometimes people have to get so sick and tired of being sick and tired, and then they're open to doing other things. So
They're willing to be brave.
well, you know, they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. I mean, they're like, I'm done.
I mean, I literally said that. I'm tired of being sick and tired. I'm done with lying. I guess you could step to a point where, you know, and I'm not, like, with COVID, a lot of my colleagues lost their business because I was doing massage therapy, functional neurology. We were shut down for months. A lot of my business, my friends did not make it. I had two choices: pivot and shift, or fall flat on my face. And I'm not a fall flat on my face person. I am a pivot and shift person. And that's what I did.
But sometimes conventional medicine can help you get to that point. You know, I went back to higher order medicine because he was like, you know, what can I do for you? Like, you're my worst patient ever, because usually he has people dialed in and looked on. And I'm like, nope, not me. I'm all, I'm back next week. And I went back 20 years later and told him, you did all you could do. He did everything in his capacity to do. But he also gave me that time to get well enough that I could transition to that next level. So he did do all he could do. And I want him to know that, because I know in the back of his mind, how come I never figured that one out? I told him because it was spiritual. That's not your realm.
They don't know. They don't. They're good at acute care. I'm not knocking conventional medicine. If you gotta go to the hospital, you gotta go. They're great for acute care, but chronic illness, people like me fall through the cracks. They don't know how to treat chronic Lyme. 30-day round of antibiotics isn't gonna do shit. And they don't even believe chronic Lyme even exists. And they don't even believe mold exists. Or parasites. People are like, oh, you live in a third world country, that's where you get parasites. Like, no, like, we deworm our dogs. Why aren't we deworming ourselves?
And if we don't deworm our dogs, we get them from our dogs.
Right.
Especially if they sleep with you. Kisses.
There's my right parasite, Mom.
They're worth it.
Definitely worth it. I have a question.
Yes.
Can you speak about, and you can go anywhere you want on this subject, phenolics?
Phenols, like on the scanner.
On the scanner and what you do when they show up and all of that.
Just have them remove them for a little bit and see what happens. I'm kind of a less is more person. I don't really like taking out, and because it's depriving people. People lose their shit when I tell them they can't have gluten or dairy or anything. So I like to go slow and maybe take one or two things out, monitor the skin. And that's pretty much what we're doing with his Alzheimer's. I'm letting him do all that. I just kind of glance at the scans. And I have her, we had what? We took out ice cream? That's all we've done, I think, so far, right? And in 2 months of just running easy scans every day, her scans are already cleaning up and changing. Like there's less gut markers. I didn't do anything fancy. We just told her to take out ice cream and not eat as much dairy. So don't overthink it, I guess is my thing. People get so caught up in like, now I had one lady who came in with left kidney pain and I looked at her scans and looked at her blood work. I'm like, oh my God, you need to cut out oxalates. Within 3 days, her kidney pain was gone. Just for cutting down oxalates. I didn't do anything else. But that was what needed attention. And that's what's so great about DNA, because DNA will provide you with a template of where you need to go first. So you're not guessing, do I need to kill Lyme first? Do I need to do this parasite? Do I need to do this, that? Like, what order do I do everything? I know a lot of us get all wrapped up in like the order of detox and what do we kill first. I don't. I use DNA to let me know where I need to go first on the scans, in what order I need to address things.
Is DNA remote, or do they need to be in your office?
No, we can do it remote. And the thing that's great about DNA is once you learn that skill, then you can actually do it on yourself. Fix your own stuff. That's why I said it's a template. You can use it if you're an emotion code practitioner or you do anything with emotions, you can use the DNA template to figure out what you need to prioritize and do. If you do a lot of physiological stuff like I do, you can figure out, do you need to do liver stuff before pancreas or whatever? You can figure out the chain of command, so to say. Same thing with like fighting infections or whatever. You can use it for anything. I use it for like what Sheila was talking about with the 9s and the 1s on the comprehensive. That's what I do when I do structural work. I run comprehensive on a spine, hip, pelvis, ligaments, connective tissue, whatever. And I look for all the 9s and the 1s because the 9s are going to be hypertonic and the 1s are going to be like weak or low energy. So that paints a picture, okay, this is tight, this is weak, this is on, this is off, I need to do this, I need to do that. From a distance. I can work on someone's back and SI joint just from running the comprehensive. And then I use the DNA template to prioritize what are the segments that need to be done, what needs to be released, what needs to be activated. So you're not guessing.
You have to plug DNA so much because it's not about that. It prioritizes according to that person's central nervous system at that moment. Just like the voice and the skin of the body. So you're going to get what they need if there's a moment.
So I'll tell you a really cool case because Jen and I shared a client who actually was your person. She sent someone to us who had back pain for like 20 years that was not being resolved with all the typical conventional shit that, physical therapy, chiropractic, massage. Anyway.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
First 2 sessions, limbic stuff was coming up, but it was not safe for me to work with. So I had to address the structure because he came in with back pain. He had no pelvic floor, couldn't breathe, couldn't access the diaphragm. I forget what else. The primary priority was limbic emotional, but I was not allowed to do anything with it. I had 2 sessions like that, I think.
What told you weren't allowed?
DNA.
Because his central nervous system
It was like, nope.
communicated to DNA.
Yep, nope, not having it yet. The last 4, Jen took over. Limbic. You know what it all revolved around? His mother. And it was safe to finally clear. So he needed out of 6 sessions, 2 structure. The other 4 were limbic. Because at that point, I cleared whatever needed to be cleared. And then Jen was able to do her deal. That was what, last year? The year before?
And he reached out to me and he said, hey, do you know an acupuncturist? I've gone to sports medicine, I've had MRIs, I saw ortho, I don't want surgery, my shoulder. And I was like, you don't need acupuncture, my acupuncture. I'm like, why don't you go to see Becky? I think she can help you.
He's never been back.
Because he's fine.
We fixed the
He's
problem.
checked it like 8 months in, just checking in.
Yeah, he's like, I'm fine.
Because I feel great. Okay, carry on.
And that's what's great about it, because you're literally hitting what that person needs, and you fix. You actually address the problem. So that's.
Again, we're going back to what is the second mechanism? What is the body telling us? That's all we're going to see.
And you can use the scanner for all this. I do that with emotions with the database. You pull up someone that got 38 emotions in their liver, how do you know what to address? I use DNA. It's that easy. Now, I mean, if you want, you can sift and take the time to look for the high cause and the things that are over 90%. That'll start to wheedle it down a little bit. And I'm not saying not look at the low cause, but low cause is something that's going to be more chronic. Maybe it's because I work in healthcare. I want to take care of the most important things first, so high cause 90% is going to be more pressing than a low cause 90%. We'll eventually get there, but if you're kind of trying to figure out where to prioritize, look for the high cause, anything over 90%.
And a lot of those beliefs can get resolved with the 90%.
Right.
So if somebody doesn't have access to DNA in their repertoire of tools in their toolbox,
Give me a scanner.
right, and prioritize
High cause 90%.
right, but also like intervals emotional,
Yes.
right, like, and I would imagine nothing, maybe we get them, but the affirmation. Can I share their picture of the affirmation?
And then Chelsea's going to be doing the different muscle testing, so if you don't have DNA at that point in time, if you have permission to test for the client, you can surmise with the muscle testing before then.
It's better than nothing, like, right, DNA is more advanced, but it's something.
I'm going to answer another question that commonly keeps coming up, because people are like, how do you figure out what to do on one scan? So I know we always talk about you need 3 to 5 scans, I get it. You can still get a lot of data pulled from that one scan. And when I mean that one scan, it's going to be inner voice, vitals. I like to do supplements. I might choose a couple items in body systems based on what I see in the vital scan. And then I do the same in comprehensive. So that's all one scan. You can see the trends and patterns that are popping up just in that one scan in all of those categories that you just did. That is a good starting point.
Can you repeat those?
Inner voice. So here's how I look at it. Inner voice is like clearing the slate of the nervous system. You don't want to scan someone's vitals when they're just like, oh my God, I just had a fight with so-and-so. Clear the slate, do inner voice first, bring their nervous system back to earth, or parasympathetic, however you want to look at it. Then run vitals. Look through vitals and see what are the areas coming up. Do you see a lot of liver stuff, a lot of gallbladder stuff, a lot of kidney stuff? If yes, go to body systems and only select those systems, which I guess will just be endocrine collectively.
I was going to say, will you prioritize hormone treatment of everybody in your body system, so?
Probably. I haven't had time to play with that either. Then do the same in comprehensive. What did I just say? Liver, kidney. Okay, so you would do those then in comprehensive. Now I'm a data person, so I want to see how things intertwine and interconnect, so then I run supplements, because the supplements will kind of tie in with what you're seeing on the vital scan. So throughout all of those, you're going to start to see, like, let's just pick on vitamin D, because we were picking on that today. Do you see vitamin D showing up in the inner voice? Do you see vitamin D showing up as a double red 1 in vitals? Is it popping up again in body systems as acute or chronic? Is it now telling me in the supplements that I need vitamin D? That's what you're looking for, those trends and patterns through just that one scan. Yes?
So if you develop something that you can put this information in and you can track and see easily versus.
Some people do spreadsheets. I don't do spreadsheets because it makes my brain blow up. I handwrite.
Like a graph, something that we can, as visual.
Well, that's why I personally write everything down on notebook paper and then I highlight the things. So, like, if you look at my notebook for my gut program people, that highlighted list is getting smaller. So now I only have 3 things that I need to deal with just from scanning and optimizing and doing easy scans every week. And then I look at their supplements that come up on the easy scan compared to the vitals, and that gives me even more information.
In vitals, what would be it?
Huh? In vitals?
Where do you find those?
In the vitamins and vitamin section. Yeah. I think vitamin C and vitamin D is like at the bottom. I'm just saying when people are like, vitamin D is a 1, do I need it or not? I don't know. You can muscle test or you can run your supplements and is it saying you need vitamin D? Then that 1, that vitamin D1 is saying that you're low and you need it. If it's a 9 and it's still telling you need it, you probably have an acute deficiency in vitamin D. So I like to do supplements it's for me it's confirming what I'm seeing in the supplement vitamins, minerals, amino acids, digestive enzymes. You know, how do you know if you need HCl? Is it a 1 or a 9? I don't know. Run your supplements. Does it come up? Don't overthink it.
I think when you talk about the trace minerals and having to replace and use multiple, I had to do that. I was taking my trace minerals and I was like, why is this coming up? Then I changed to a different brand.
Well, that's another topic I guess I'll talk about. I think someone actually talked about it today, and then I was over like, well, maybe you need three different supplement lines and 3 different deliveries. You know, maybe put a liquid D in and a capsule D, and put maybe Apex D and Biox Research D. Which one's going to come up? I know for me, my body doesn't really like Apex nutraceuticals. My body likes Biox Research. That's like the line that keeps coming up, but that's me. I like liquid D. That's what resonates with my body, not a pill form of D. And so you can play around with like different brands and different delivery systems. I did that with iodine last year, and then I took that a step further. I had put in Lugol's liquid, Lugo tablets, and I had some other brand of iodine. I don't remember. My body only liked one, so that was the one I took. And then I was like, oh, well, how much do I need? Well, let's put 25 in, 50, 75, and 100. So every day I knew like where I needed to be on my dose of iodine. Or you can muscle test. I'm just sometimes, for me, I'm so crazy trying to help everyone else. I'm always the last one to get, taken care of, and then my brain is just like, I can't even muscle test because I'm just done. So I rely on the scanner for me. Or I will pendulum, because pendulum is something I can just do brainlessly to tell me what I need to do. So I guess my point in saying that is don't overthink it. If you're not sure, maybe run your supplements and see what's coming up. Do you need it? Do you not need it? And then obviously with the 3 to 5 scans, I do the exact same thing. I do all of what I just did, that's 1 scan, and then I do that 2 or 3 more times to have all that data, and then I sit down and look at what's all highlighted, and now how are all these things connected? Because you're gonna start to see that like things are intertwined and connected with each other. Like there might be 4 line items coming up, but they're all connected. Like that all means adrenals.
Do you usually have a set of time that you go to team, 3 weeks, a month, or something else?
No, I scan myself every day.
I mean, lots of me for clients.
No, I mean my gut people get priority, so I scan them every week. But if something comes up, I'll like, okay, let me go on the scanner and do this, whatever. Most of my clients, unfortunately, because of my time constraints, because I'm a one-woman show, they are seen monthly. So You come in. I see you monthly. I look at like all your scans, labs, whatever people like to throw at me. And then I might change 2 or 3 things. And then I want them to do those 2 or 3 things in the next 4 weeks. And then we reevaluate and see where we're at. So that's kind of what I do. Ultimately, my job and my goal is to get the device and the subscription in everyone's hands so that I can teach them. And then they don't need to do the one-to-one appointments. And that is the most cost-effective way for them to work with someone like me. Because I have a high hourly rate per day, but it's that way for a reason. So and that's one reason why I kind of started my functional medicine subscription, because I want people to have an easier way to have access. Because if you look at a lot of naturopaths and functional medicine people like us, we're unattainable. I've worked with a couple people who have paid $10,000 and $20,000 to these top people who I know, and they're no better. I don't have the heart to take more money from someone who's already spent their life savings trying to fix my goal, and they're not any better with a protocol that does not fit everyone. When I hear the word protocols, I just want to scream. We're not protocols. Everyone needs an individualized plan for them. This is why protocols don't work. So I'm a little bit different.
With the organs, it doesn't say spleen, what do we do?
I think in comprehensive you have to do pancreas to get spleen, if I remember. That threw me off like last year. I was like, why is there no spleen? And then I think I ran pancreas and then saw the spleen in that group. But if I see spleen, I usually look at like white blood cells, red blood cells, lymphocytes, Epstein-Barr, you know, the herpes family that likes to overtake you when you get mad. Anything else?
You go back and you see herpes and people get mad.
What?
I didn't hear what the last thing you said with the people.
Oh, herpes. Usually when people have boundaries pushed or anger, you usually get a herpes reaction from an emotional standpoint. German New Medicine.
What?
German New Medicine. Skin issues are usually attack conflicts. You've been attacked emotionally, verbally, physically. Like I get herpes outbreaks when people push my buttons and push me to my limit. When I try to establish boundaries and people like to bump up to them, and then I get angry because then I feel violated.
This time.
And this is what I teach people, because now I know the chemical feeling of when that's starting to happen. I can feel it. So I rein it in, because if I don't, something's going to happen. But I know what that feels like now inside. And people are like, I don't understand what you're talking about.
Can you describe it?
Yes, think about anger. Someone just pissed you off. I want you to think of what the emotion of anger feels like to you. What do you feel physically and physiologically happening? I know for me, when I get anger, I get a lump in my throat. I get really warm in through here. My muscles get tight. I get like a tunnel in my ears. Sometimes I get like real focused. My jaw starts to like rip. These are all physiological and physical symptoms, issues that happen when you express anger. And if you've read Candace Pert's book, Molecules of Emotion, this will make complete sense to you.
Say that again.
Candace Pert, Molecules of Emotion. All of our emotions secrete a there's neuroendocrine peptides that get secreted every time you experience love, joy, hate, anger, betrayal. Pert, P-E-R-T.
Is this part of the German New Medicine?
No. I got lots of rabbit holes I go down. I use German New Medicine a lot when I do DNA.
You know, this is like the third time I've heard about German New Medicine.
Yeah. There's lots of books. There's Louise Hay. There's Gabor I can never say. When the body says no. I just posted a whole bunch of books the other day. Someone was asking me. Body Keeps the Score. Another really good book is from Linda Lancaster, Harmonic Healing. That's all about frequencies and how diseases resonate at certain frequencies. So what did we all do with people during COVID? We locked them down and created fear.
Yep. What was that last name, Linda?
Lancaster.
Okay.
10 more minutes, Becky.
All right. So for me, I'll just tell you my personal story. For me to completely come through Lyme in 2019, because for 18 months I was spinning my wheels, still eating well, detoxing, something was missing. I wasn't getting any better. I finally realized every Lyme flare I had revolved around anger and betrayal. And now I know what those emotions feel like in me. And when I expressed those emotions was when Lyme would flare. And that was confirmed on my AO scan device, because every time I saw Lyme and Borrelia or Babesia appear, it was a day that something in their voice was showing me anger, betrayal, hatred, something to that matter. So that's how I started putting 2 and 2 together. And that's what I ended up writing my thesis on, which like blew people's minds, because they were like, what? And now that I work with a lot of Lyme and mold clients, I see so much anger. The subcategories of anger and all those emotions when Lyme is flaring. So that's how I control or am more aware of Lyme for myself. So lately it's been kind of showing up on my scans, and I know I'm kind of running on empty right now. So that's kind of cueing me in, and I need to start reining back and taking care of myself, because these are things that I'm starting to see on the scanner. And I don't want those patterns coming back. So a lot of times when I work with my clients, I have them kind of create a timeline of all the times they've had flares. Go back to when they first got sick, because there's always something that happened when they first got sick. You need to go back to that. And then you need to look further than that, because it might be something between the ages of 0 and 5, maybe 7. And then that's what we clear. I just recently worked with a girl who's actually in my program. She was having panic attacks about getting on the plane and coming out here to DOD. And I said to her, I'm like, hey, let's do a session. And we, stuff was coming up, and I'm like, that's not it. That's too superficial. I'm like, you need to go deeper. You need to go back. Keep going. We finally found that it was at age 7, her mother had given her up for adoption. So she felt abandoned. That's where all of her panic and fear was coming from. So I, did my DNA stuff and figured out how emotionally we needed to clear that. We cleared that, and I said, okay, I want you to think about getting on a plane. She was like, I feel fine. And you know what? She got on a plane and gave me a big ass hug when she got here. She texted me when she landed, and she's like, I freaking did it!
I did not die!
And I said, yeah, and you didn't die. Nothing bad happened. That is the power of your mind. She held herself hostage for so long. She had gut issues. She had liver issues. She had histamine issues. She couldn't even access her diaphragm. She wasn't even in her body half the time. Now she has all of that. Use your inner voice and your emotions. They literally will show you a pattern. And if you see a pattern, go digging. It's all about patterns. I can't repeat that enough. Patterns, trends and patterns, trends and patterns. Don't look at each individual line item. How is everything interconnected and woven? No body system ever works alone. Remember that. It's not just the lymphatic. It's not just the immune. It's not just the nervous system. It's not just the bones. It's all of that. How is that all interwoven? And you'll learn that in Candace Pert's book, because that was like a huge eye-opener for me, was addressing the nervous system. You need to address the lymphatics. Guess what the lymphatics also do? The immune system, your endocrine system, the blood. You remember in high school where you had the anatomy books and like the nervous system was all yellow, and then the lymphatic system was all green, and the circulatory system was all red and blue? You slap them all on top of each other, they're all in the same pathways. So it's not either or, it's all. Candace Pert. P-E-R-T.